The Tennis Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Nick Fantasy. Sign up with the promo code SGPN to get $1,000 in bonus credit. We're also brought to you by Edge Boost. Get $50 per month to catch rewards by using the, once again, Edge Boost link, edgeboost.bet, using the promo code SGPN. And welcome, everybody, to the Tennis Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. It is currently Saturday morning, early Saturday morning, March 29th, roughly 4 a.m. Eastern Time. I'm your host of the episode, Scott Reichel, once again going solo for this pod. Should be a short episode, only one match to talk about. It's time to get into the final in Miami between Djokovic and Mensik, which is kind of a shocking matchup here. Should be a fun one. Looking forward to breaking it down. Match is actually taking place on Sunday, so I am coming out with this episode pretty early. To be honest, there was no real reason for me to do so, but I was up anyway at 4 a.m. Thought, why not? I'm not sleeping because I never am, so I figured why not? Might as well record it, and hopefully, once again, you are awake and can capitalize on potential line moves before they actually happen. Anyway, before we get into the actual breakdown of the preview for the final there on Sunday between Djokovic and Mensik, before we get into the recap of the semifinal matches in the actual tournament on Friday, do want to quickly remind everyone once again that you can support the show, but like, subscribing on YouTube. Reminder, you can also leave a rating and a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, available on YouTube, live stream format or YouTube video format afterwards, or you can catch it on Twitter on the SGPN Twitter account on, once again, live stream format, or catch the audio format on Spotify or Apple. No matter how you consume the podcast, can leave some feedback, and also don't forget to like, subscribe on YouTube. Reminder, don't forget to leave a rating and a review on Spotify or Apple. Plus, a reminder, check the merch store on the SGPN website. We've got great Tennis Gambling Podcast merch with sweatshirts, t-shirts, and mugs. High quality, different colors, and very affordable. Recommend getting yourself something there. And a reminder for the actual apps, if you are a big app person, check out the SGPN app, which is completely free if you're looking for all of our picks and podcasts in one easy location. Download the SGPN app wherever you do get your apps. Now, quickly going to recap what happened in the matches on Friday. I want to start off with the lock and dog picks. Once again, a sweep. Back-to-back episodes for the sweep. The lock streak continues. Picked up a nice win with Dimitrov. Team total under 10.5 at minus 130. Couple ways that you could have played it. Either the team total under 10.5, 9.5, Djokovic in straight sets. We picked pretty much an ass-kicking. That's what happened, as Joker did win comfortably. Got broken in the first game, then dominated the rest of the way. Dimitrov, though, we know was struggling physically after his marathon win against Cerundolo. Had a day off in between, but it seemed like he was just not fully there, and Joker has been playing great tennis the entire event. Not dropped a set yet, and we thought Dimitrov was in trouble, not to mention the head-to-head dominance Joker's had against him, winning 10 straight in the head-to-head, and Dimitrov had no chance, as Joker did beat him comfortably, and Dimitrov finished with, I believe, 5 games in the match. So never in doubt, nice lock win there. For the dog, nice win. We ended up running back the Fritz first set over. We did the same thing in the Berrettini match, and we ended up cashing again as Fritz Mensik over 10.5 games in the first set. Cashed easily. You had no breaks. You had no break points, I believe, and you eventually did get a breaker. So nice plus 135 win there. So once again, a great tournament for us. We've hit the lock in a bunch of episodes. I think the one exception was the void when you ended up seeing Makic withdraw from the event, but we've been in great form for the lock plays, especially for the last few weeks. I haven't exactly gone through the last couple episodes to find out exactly how long the streak goes, but we've been really, really good for the last couple weeks. Hopefully, you've been cashing with us along the way. Dog plays have been fine. Point is, though, it's a lot harder to constantly hit plus money plays when you're going for the, I'd say, long shot options, or at least the unrug options, which is why it's called the dog play. But nice win on back-to-back episodes for the first set overs, and hopefully we end up sweeping again for the third episode as the match takes place on Sunday. Quickly looking at Rob, who is stopping by for the actual live stream. First time tuning in live. Nice to see you, Rob. Hopefully you do enjoy the show. And once again, you have the floor to yourself right now. So if you do want to ask any questions, you can in the comment section. Same for anybody else who tunes in. It is a live stream. I do read the comments, so if you do want to ask something, I will answer it, so keep that in mind. Now, getting into the actual recap of the matches from the semis. You had one straightforward match and one absolute war. Joker, said before, dominated against Dimitrov. Dimitrov never had a chance, especially after the physical ailments he was suffering from at the end of that Cerundolo match. Kind of a shame, because Dimitrov was in great form. And it looked like early in the event, he was going to be able to make a potential run back to the final. But then he had the marathon against Cerundolo. His body couldn't recover. I'm kind of shocked he won the match in hindsight, fighting off a match point late in the third. Won the breaker, and then eventually just completely collapsed, basically. And his body couldn't recover in time. Joker, though, looked great. Thought he served very well. Joker actually ended up winning. Let me just check the math here. He won 79% of his first serve points, I believe, which is just insane to think about. while also hitting a high percentage of the first serve. Dimitrov, though, really just never threatened besides the opening game. Broke to love in the first game, and then after that did not break again. So felt like Joker, once he kind of got into the rhythm of things quickly in the match, after he broke back immediately in the first set, just ran away with it. So never really a sweat in the match. Was basically an hour. It was, I'll put it this way, a very, very one-sided affair. And if you paid money for the match, you were pretty disappointed because the match took about an hour and 10 minutes. However, you did get your money's worth if you stayed for the late match because Mensik ended up upsetting Fritz in 3 sets. A very fun match. Thought that Mensik was alive to win it. Did like the over, of course, in the first set and the match. Thought it'd be a war. I thought Fritz would probably end up winning, but I was concerned about Fritz's potential stamina after having that marathon win against Berrettini the day prior. But Mensik looked the part of a really, really solid up-and-coming player as the 19-year-old was able to serve just bombs, and he was able to land 25 aces in the match. Fritz had 14, so once again, Fritz served well too. But winning all those free points from your serve, 25 aces, tells you how just good his serve actually is. And he's only 19 years old. Like, Mensik's going to be a problem on the tour for a while. Not saying he'll be a Grand Slam caliber player to win a title. We'll see. He might be maybe like I'm trying to think of a comparison. Like a Hurkacz type, maybe. But the point is the serve can beat anybody on any given day. And we saw that against Fritz on Friday. To get into the stats, though, he was only broken one time. Fritz lost the match despite not getting broken in the entire match, which kind of sucks. But either way, Fritz did fight off both breakpoints. Mensik got broken in the second set, but both guys basically held pretty much the entire match. And you saw Mensik outlast Fritz in both breakers, 7-4. But either way, fun match there, definitely close. And Mensik, once again, is kind of the surprising story of the event. Joker, I know, had a really bad run at Indian Wells, was not playing that well after the retirement in the Australian Open semis against Zverev, but he has won Miami, I think, 6 times, and now he's back into the final. I'm happy to see him here. He's going for title 100 on the tour, which is insane to think about. 100 ATP titles. It tells you why a lot of people, including myself, think he's the best player of all time. Crazy longevity, crazy just peak, and now he's trying to kind of, I'd say, etch his name into the record books one more time, going for his 100th ATP title win on Sunday against a pretty, I'd say, surprising underdog here with Mensik as the 19-year-old going for his first ever title. Pretty tough, once again, spot for Mensik, who is going for his first ever ATP title in a 1,000 event against the best player of all time, going for title 100, who has not dropped a set yet. So it should be pretty fun, kind of an old guard versus the new guard type matchup, which I'm looking forward to, and it should be a fun match, hopefully. If Joker ends up dominating, we'll get into the preview in a second, I wouldn't be shocked, but I think we'd all agree it would be a pretty disappointing, I'd say, culmination of the event, which has featured upsets, a lot of drama, and if Joker wins very, very, I'd say, straightforwardly, it would be a kind of a dud. I'll put it that way. But looking at the other people in the comment section, see Uneducated back. I know you're always in the live stream for every episode, so nice to see you again, too. Point is, though, for the actual semifinals, once again, not really anything shocking. We gave Mensik more than a puncher's chance, pulled it off, and we thought Joker would kill Dimitrov, and he did. So nice overall episode for us, going for the 3rd straight sweep of the event, and hopefully we end up doing so for the match on Sunday. Before we get into the actual breakdown of the final, though, between Djokovic and Mensik, want to remind once again that we were brought to you by DraftKings, because when it comes to college basketball and March Mania, one thing is for sure, nothing is for sure. You have upsets, buzzer beaters, Cinderellas advancing, top seeds going home early. Maybe Purdue, I'd say, avoiding to actually guard the inbounder on the last defensive possession. It's all going to happen. Bet the unexpected every upset every day with DraftKings Sportsbook. They have live betting, exclusive content. They have promos, parlays. DraftKings, the ultimate college basketball destination for March. If it's your first time using DraftKings, that's actually a good thing for you because there is a great promo. New DraftKings customers bet $5, get $200 of bonus instantly. So once again, bet the unexpected DraftKings Sportsbook. Down the Sportsbook app. And you can also use the code SGP when you do sign up. Code SGP for new customers to get $200 of bonus. It's only bet just $5 only on DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over, age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Rhythm is the home for AI picks and prop. They're already off to a great start helping you dominate March Madness. Building your custom models also very easy and profitable to do. They have models for other sports and leagues as well, NBA, golf, and coming soon MLB. You can also try it out for free for a week, 7-day free trial by using the link sportsgamblingpodcast.com. That's Rhythm, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RATHMM. Welcome back, everyone, to the Tennis Game Podcast. Finished recapping what happened in the semis on Friday. Time to move on into the preview for the Sunday. Once again, Sunday match. I am a day early here in the final between Joker and Mensik. Now, for the actual matchup, Joker is a massive favorite, obviously. Once again, going for title 100. He's basically, I don't want to say a guaranteed winner here, but he is priced that way. He's minus 380 on the money line. Mensik is plus 290. For the spread here, minus 3.5 for Djokovic at minus 130. You have plus 3.5 for Mensik at plus 100. The over-under in games at 22.5. The over is minus 110. The under is minus 120. So Joker, once again, is priced to be, I'd say, a shoo-in to win the match. The point is, do I think Mensik can give him some problems? I think he can. You have to wonder about the nerves, though. Mensik did make a final last year, lost to Kashanov in Doha, so he's never won a title, and he's 19. So you have to wonder if nerves will play a factor. Maybe. Then again, we saw Draper win a 1,000 title last week, so maybe it is kind of a sign that the new guys are here to stay. Bit different, though, for Draper. He has won some titles before, made the U.S. Open semis. So he has had a couple big matches before. Mensik, not so much. But the point is Mensik has the serve, and it's really the ultimate equalizer if he's able to hit his spots, because we know the courts of Miami are fast, and that's how Mensik has made it all the way here to the final. The serve has been lethal, and we'll see if Joker can cut through it and to potentially create some breakpoint chances for himself. Now, they faced off last year in Shanghai back in October. Close match, actually. Saw Joker lose the first set in a breaker, and then he came back and he buried Mensik in the next two sets as he won 6-1, 6-4. But Mensik did draw first blood. Now, it was a bit of a weird set because Joker was actually serving, I believe, for the first set. Then he got broken while serving for it. So it was a spot where Joker had a couple of breakpoint chances earlier in the set. Ended up failing those, got the break, and then got broken back immediately before before losing the first set in a breaker. But Mensik might not be as intimidated as you might think because he has beaten Joker in a set before, and with the serve, you could have a chance against anybody, I guess, is the argument. We know Isner won a title here a couple years ago with the same premise. If you just serve bombs and they can't return it, then you got a chance. So we'll see if Mensik can, once again, serve extremely well enough to pull off the upset. Now, the problem that Mensik does run into is that Joker, we know, is better at every other area besides maybe having the first serve firepower that Mensik has. But Joker has served very well so far in the event. Both guys have been broken 4 times in the event, so pretty even when it comes to serving. Joker, though, has been great at actually converting breakpoints. Joker has been converting 47% of his breakpoint chances. Mensik has been awful at it, 20.7. So Mensik's had a lot of looks. Just cannot really seem to get over the finish line when it comes to breaks. But I think you're looking at Mensik and Joker having at least one set featuring a bunch of holds. I know Joker might apply some pressure, and if Mensik's first serve drops in terms of percentage, he might have some problems. But I think Joker should be favored by a lot. I understand he has not dropped a set yet. He's been in great form. Mentioning the path of both players so far, Joker has not lost a set, but he has had a pretty easy, I'd say, path up to this point, at least compared to what you'd expect for a 1,000 final appearance. And then a beating Chikata in straight sets, beat Ugo Carabelli in straight sets. Both those had a breaker, by the way, in the second set. Beat Musetti in straight sets, beat Korda in straight sets, and ended up beating Dimitrov in straight sets. So you're looking at the last couple names. You have Dimitrov, you have Korda, and Musetti. Looks decent on paper, but you dig a bit deeper, and it's maybe not as impressive because Musetti, we know, is not exactly the greatest hardcourt player at a couple marathons before that, but Joker has owned Musetti on hardcourt in the past, and we saw him dominate in straight sets there easily, 6-2, 6-2. The Korda match was kind of misleading because he won in straight sets, but Korda was up a break, actually, in the second set, and Korda did have a chance to serve it out for the second set. He got broken, and then Joker did win the second set in a breaker. But the point is, Korda was battling some wrist issues, so you have to wonder if Korda was 100% going to that match. But either way, the point is Joker did win in straight sets, but he was on the brink of losing a set. It's definitely not as, I'd say, one-sided as the scoreline suggests. And the Dimitrov match, you You could argue Dimitrov's body was made of jello for that match, and Joker had a great scheduling spot. I know he's owned Dimitrov anyway, probably would have won anyway, but Dimitrov really showed no resistance at all, and after breaking to love in the first game, Dimitrov got just curb stomped. Like, no way around it, but you have to wonder how much of it was Joker playing well, and how much of it was Dimitrov, once again, having nothing left in the tank. Usually the truth is somewhere in the middle, so I'm assuming that Joker played well, but Dimitrov just could not look anywhere near his usual self, and Joker took advantage of it. But once again, a pretty reasonable path for Joker. But when your best opponent in the event so far is a severely compromised Dimitrov or a bad wrist Korda, then you do have to wonder, once again, if he has been as dominant as the scoreline suggests. Now, for the actual path of Mensik, he has been playing well as well. Did have a 3-set marathon there against Bautista Agut. Not a great sign. I'm sure you thought when he was in that third set against Agut, probably not going to run the table, and he did. Ended up beating Draper in straight sets after Draper's win in Indian Wells, 7-6, 7-6. Beat Safuin in straight sets, ended up having a walkover against Makic. Did beat Fies in straight sets, and ended up beating Fritz in a 3-set marathon with a breaker win in the final set. So Mensik has played, I guess you can argue, maybe tougher competition than Joker when you factor in Draper, you factor in Fies, and you factor in Fritz. Fritz and Draper, I think, are better than any player that Joker's beaten so far in the event. So I am going to give props to Mensik for beating, in my opinion, the tougher draw to make it to the final. You could also argue that, once again, Joker is just a monster in Miami. He's won this event 6 times. So you could argue that Mensik, once again, is now in for a completely different challenge, and that Mensik might be over his skis here. However, I think Mensik's serve can be the equalizer for at least a set. I think Joker's going to win. I'm not going to tell you that Mensik's going to upset him. I don't see that happening. But can I see Mensik maybe winning a set? I can see a path. I think it'd have to go to a breaker. The problem is Mensik really has not been great at converting breakpoint chances, and Joker's been serving pretty well in the courts here. So the point is Mensik can win a set, maybe like he did against Fritz, where he can win without even really getting a breakpoint chance. But I think Joker, when the rallies are going to get longer, of course, he has the edge. The longer the match goes, Joker has an edge as well because, of course, he's been there before, has mental toughness, and he's probably the best rallier of all time besides maybe Nadal. You get my point, though. Mensik has a lot of firepower. He's very young, can hit some questionable shots at times in terms of selection, but I do think the serve can propel him to maybe finding a way to steal a set. It did in the first matchup where his serve caught fire in the tiebreak especially, and he was able to, I'd say, sneak out of there with a tiebreak win. Maybe Joker loses a set. Do I think he's going to? No. I think Joker probably wins in straight sets, but I can see a pretty similar path to what we've seen in the event so far for Joker, which is a straight set win, but not nearly as straightforward as it appears, because he has gone to a breaker in 3 of the 5 matches here, and he ended up going to a breaker against Korda, where he was down a break in that second set. So the point is, I think Joker's going to win. You'd argue that there is some value on Mensik, maybe, plus the 3.5 games. Maybe you can make that argument. I'm not going to. I think Joker should, keyword should, win in straight sets. I don't really want to lay minus 130, though, on the 3.5. If you want to go for straight sets, once again, I don't hate it. I think Joker probably gets there, but Mensik, if he won a set, I would not be as shocked as other people, but minus 125 to win in straight sets is really not that bad. Want to point out, for the actual, once again, script for Mensik, there's really only one way he can win, which is just serving bombs. That's kind of the only chance he's got. You got to hope that he can outserve Joker and really limit the return success that Joker can have. The problem for Mensik is that if the first serve percentage drops, he's in trouble. And I think that could be a problem, not to mention Joker being the best returner of all time. So he could find a way to even break if Mensik does hit his spots in a service game. So there might be a couple of shaky moments for Mensik, maybe a 30-40, where he's going to have to fight off a break point. Before the matchup itself, I'll put it this way. I'm picking Joker to win, probably in straight sets, but I'm not picking a complete ass-kicking like we saw in the semis against Dimitrov. I'm giving Mensik a puncher's chance to potentially make it a marathon. I think he'll fall short of winning a set, but if he ended up going to a breaker, that would not surprise me for this one. I'm actually kind of going to predict at least one competitive set here. Maybe he rolls over, but I think Mensik can hang in there to some degree against Joker before eventually losing in what I think should be a competitive straight set battle. And that's going to wrap it up for the actual preview of the final in Miami between Joker and Mensik. Now it's time for the Lock and Dog picks. For that, though, remember, once again, they're brought to you by Underdog, because if you do want to try out their Underdog pick'em, definitely recommend it. You can play any sport, win 100 times your money. You can also mix and match sports, whether it involves NBA, college basketball, NHL. If you want to go for tennis as well, you can. Even esports they have for you. And a reminder that if you do want to sign up for Underdog, you can use the promo code SGPN Click on special for the first time deposit offer up to 1K bonus cash and fantasy promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by EdgeBoost, the premier debit card for bettors. They have a lot of perks, and one of them is not having your card denied at the sportsbook or DFS site, because if you use the EdgeBoost card, you will never get denied at any of those places. Plus, you can cash rewards. You can earn up to $70 per month cash rewards by using the EdgeBoost card. Money saves, the card's FCC insured, and best part, no credit checks, completely free. A reminder, if you do want to try actually getting an EdgeBoost card, sign up today at edgeboost.bet with the promo code SGPN. Welcome back, everyone, to the Tennis Game Podcast. Time to get into the actual lock and dog plays for the final on Sunday. For the lock, I've mentioned many times before, the team totals have been really, really good to us so far in the event. I'm going to go back to it. Give me Djokovic team total over 12.5 games at -146. This is on FanDuel. Couple reasons why I'm going to go with this. First reason, FanDuel went completely rogue, off the reservation rogue, and gave you a crazy price. 146 feels very expensive until you compare it to other books, because BetRivers has -182, DraftKings is -175. I think Bet365 had -163. 146 is crazy. I know it seems juicy, but I like it. I think Joker should be in line for at least one competitive set against a very good server. You could argue that based on Dimitrov's, I'd say, physical limitations in that semis, this is the best server he's faced in the event by a wide margin. I think that could take some getting used to for Joker. I think Mensik can find a way to force a 7-5 or a 7-6 set, but you're looking at -146 whenever the book has basically -175 or -180. I do like the price differential quite a bit when you're saving 30 cents, no questions asked. Now, you're looking at both players serving well in the event. Joker has been serving very well, and Mensik has been serving well too. Courts are fast, which should result in, once again, a bit of, issues for each guy to potentially find some openings in the return games early on, especially for Mensik, who I don't think is going to break much in this matchup. But I think you're looking at Joker, who might struggle to break in the span of 6 consecutive return games. And you're looking at Joker, who, despite winning every set in the event, has gone to a couple breakers. He has had a pretty, once again, decent number of competitive sets here. He has gone over this team total in 3 of his 5 matches at the event, despite winning every set. So Joker, I think, can still find a way to replicate that, where he wins in straight sets with one competitive set in there. If that's the case, it's good enough. Not to mention, Mensik does find a way to steal a set like he did in the match in Shanghai last year. You're in good shape, as Joker can get there in both a win or a loss. But either way, give me the team total over 12.5 games for Joker at -146. Been good to us with the team totals. We'll go back to it again until we actually lose a team total in this event. I'm going to keep going to it. So once again, that's going to be our lock. For the dog, I'm going to double down with one competitive set here. Give me the tie break. I'll go with the over half a tie break at +110. That's on Bet365. Now, both guys have been serving well, said before. There has been at least one tie break, though, in 3 of Mensik's last 4 matches. He won a match against Fritz despite not breaking a single time in the match itself. So I think Mensik can serve well enough to once again find enough holds to force a tie break. They faced off last year in Shanghai, and that did go to a breaker in the first set. Joker, though, has gone to a tie break in 3 of his 5 matches here. I think +110 is a good price when you're factoring the court speed, you're factoring in the actual serving quality that Mensik and Djokovic possess here, and you're factoring in the history of one breaker in their only head-to-head meeting. I think +110 is a good price. I'll go with that as my dog. So once again, the plays here for the lock and dog picks. The lock's going to be on Djokovic team total over 12.5 games, -146. That's on FanDuel. And for the dog, I am going to go with the over half a tie break at +110. That is on Bet365. Now, for the upcoming schedule, we are officially done with 1,000 events for at least a week. We do have a couple of clay events, though, coming up. 3, to be exact. We have Bucharest, we have Houston, and we have Marrakesh. So we are going to get into, or Marrakesh. So we're going to get into all 3 of those next week. So if you do want a lot of outright picks, a lot of potential long shot draws in these 250 clay events, I got you covered. But we have 3 clay events coming up next week. I'm going to try to get into all of the outrights in one episode for those, so stay tuned for that. Once again, you have Bucharest, you have Houston, and you have Marrakesh, so we'll see what happens there. But until next time, find me on Twitter, Reichel Radio, find me on the NBA show, find me on the MLB show, and a reminder, you can also leave a rating and a review on Spotify or Apple. Don't forget to like, subscribe on YouTube. We're closing in on 900 subscribers. Hopefully, you can help us get there by the next couple weeks. Till next time, good luck to all of you and all of your bets. Bye, everyone.